for weakness, but silence is not absence. It is presence. Deep, deep presence. And now, chosen one, the time has come when your presence is undeniable. You were never the quiet one. You were the listening one, the learning one, the observing one. You were collecting moments. You were understanding people. You were gathering truths while the world made noise. And that made you dangerous. Because power that does not announce itself always arrives like a storm from the still sky. You see, I was once like you, the one they overlooked. They smiled politely, even condescendingly, not out of cruelty, but out of unawareness. I walked through the temple barefoot, sweeping floors, lighting incense, bowing my head in humility. But every act of silence was a sharpening of my sword, not a sword of violence. A sword of wisdom. When I was younger, I learned that the tiger doesn't roar when it hunts. It moves in silence. And so too does the soul that knows its value. But hear me, your time in the shadows was not punishment. It was preparation. You were hidden because what you carry is sacred. And the sacred is never thrown into the open before its time. Do you feel it now? That stirring in your chest? That subtle shift in how people look at you? The very ones who once ignored you. Now pause in your presence, not because you spoke louder, but because your being grew heavier. Your essence grew undeniable. That's how chosen ones rise. Not with noise, but with presence. Not with chaos, but with clarity. Now I must tell you something very important. Listen carefully. The reason you were underestimated is the same reason you'll never be overthrown. Because people build defenses against threats they see. But you were invisible to them. So you grew quietly, unchallenged, undistracted. And now that your roots run deep, you cannot be shaken. Let me tell you a story from when I was living high in the mountains of Nepal. There was a young disciple, soft-spoken, eyes always on the ground. The other monks teased him gently, not maliciously, but with ignorance. He never fought back. He never defended himself. But every dawn, while others slept in their pride, he trained, he read. He sat longer in meditation than any of us. He turned his silence into substance. One day, our master fell ill. None of the louder monks knew what to do, but the quiet one, the one we never noticed, stepped forward. And in the stillness of his hands, in the clarity of his breath, he healed the master, not with potions, not with magic, but with presence, with practice, with preparedness. That day, we bowed to him, and he never asked us to. You see, chosen ones don't seek validation. They radiate truth, and the world sooner or later adjusts. So if you're watching this today, feeling unseen, unheard, maybe even doubted, I want you to know you are not behind. You are not late. You are simply being sharpened in silence. Your roar will not come from your throat. It will come from your life. Now let me guide you deeper. Camera slowly zooms in on Monk's peaceful face. The sound of wind through trees whispers in background. Ask yourself, have I mistaken my silence for weakness? Or is it the sacred soil from which my power is about to rise? Sit with that, and remember, the ones who go unnoticed often become the ones no one can ignore. Take a breath with me. Inhale, exhale. You're not the quiet one they thought you were. You are the still one, and stillness commands everything. Let us continue this path together. You've been through much, haven't you? And yet, you did not shout. You did not demand to be seen. Because somewhere deep within you, you already knew. The sun doesn't argue with the darkness. It simply rises. You were not sent here to convince people of your worth. You were sent here to become it. And that's what you've been doing. Quietly, patiently, with discipline. Let me tell you something most will never understand. When the world ignores you, when it mocks your dreams or misunderstands your heart, that is not your rejection. It is your refinement. I remember sweeping the temple floor at dawn, and one of the senior monks said to me, "Even the broom is a teacher. It clears the ground so truth has a place to walk." That stayed with me. I began to understand when life clears people away from you, when it clears jobs, relationships, distractions, it is not punishment. It is preparing the floor for something sacred to walk into your life. And chosen ones, they often live through long winters. People leave. Opportunities disappear. They're left with only themselves. But that is when it begins. That is when the fire is lit, not outside of you, but within. Because chosen ones don't chase the light, they become it. Now let's pause. Not with words, but with breath. Inhales, gently, holds it. Exhales slowly. Can you feel the silence between my words? That space is where the truth lives. This moment, right here, is more powerful than any applause you'll ever get. Because this moment belongs to you. Not your image, not your reputation, not your success. Just you, the real you. And you've spent so long hiding in plain sight, haven't you? The funny thing is, you were always capable, always worthy, always powerful. But people couldn't see it, not because it wasn't there, but because they were too noisy to notice stillness. And stillness, my friend, is the most intimidating energy there is. It says, I do not need your validation. I do not need your permission. I have met myself in silence, and I know who I am. Camera cuts to Monk's hand, gently brushing over. A candle flame, steady and unfazed. I once mentored a man who came to the monastery after losing everything. His job, his marriage, his wealth. He told me, everyone used to call me powerful. Now, no one even returns my calls. I said to him, then now is when you'll learn what power really means. He looked confused. I continued, power is not in being recognized. Power is in being rooted. And those who are rooted, they rise again. Not to where they were, but to where they were always meant to be. 2 years later, that man wasn't just restored. He was reborn, more peaceful, more focused, more true. Because when you are stripped of everything fake, what remains is real. And when the world can no longer take anything from you, you finally become free. That is where you are now, chosen one. You have shed skins. You have buried parts of yourself. You have cried in rooms no one knew you were in, and still, you rise, because this world cannot break what it did not build. Your spirit was built by something eternal, and now, you no longer walk with fear. You walk with fire, not a fire that burns others, a fire that warms the forgotten, that lights the path, that reminds others of their own spark. This is your role now, to no longer explain who you are, but to embody it so deeply, they feel it when you enter the room. Take another breath. Inhale. Slow exhale. This is not motivation. This is remembrance. I am not giving you anything. I am only reminding you of what you've always carried. You are the lesson they didn't know they needed. You are the voice they didn't expect to hear, and, soon, you'll be the name they whisper with respect. But not because you shouted, because you stood. Still, unshakable, rooted. So let us walk further. There is more I must tell you. You know, there is something sacred about those who keep going quietly, The ones who never asked to be saved, but still saved themselves. The ones who were never handed the spotlight, but lit their own path through the dark. This is you. A chosen one is not chosen by man. They are chosen by the moment. And you rose when the moment came. You didn't run from the pain. You didn't escape the suffering. You sat in it. You learned from it. You let it stretch you, bend you, test you. And through it all, you became still. Still, but not stuck. Silent, but not asleep. Soft-spoken, but thundering with purpose. Let me share with you something I never told many. There was a time when I nearly walked away from the path. Yes, even me. I had devoted years to silence, to practice, to service. But still, I felt invisible, unseen, misunderstood. I remember sitting beneath the Bodhi tree near the edge of the temple courtyard. It was dusk. The sky was turning golden, and I whispered to myself, "Does anyone see me? Does what I carry even matter?" And then, a leaf fell. Just one. It spun gently through the air, dancing slowly down to the earth. No sound, no grand entrance, just grace. And in that moment, I understood. The leaf does not fall to be witnessed. It falls because it is time. Its role in the branch is complete. Its fall is not failure. It is fulfillment. And so it is with us. You may not always be seen, but you are still serving. You may not be praised, but you are still powerful, because power is not performance. It is presence. And your presence, chosen one, has grown so strong. It no longer asks to be accepted. It commands alignment. You've reached a place now where your energy speaks before. Your words. Your eyes carry a depth people can't explain. Your silence makes people nervous, and that's okay. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will appreciate the weight of your soul, but that's because you were not made for everyone. You were made for those who are ready, for those whose hearts are quiet enough to hear what you truly say. Camera shifts slightly. The monk folds his hands, closes his eyes for a moment, and breathes deeply. You must remember this, always. People will project their fear onto your stillness. They will accuse your detachment of arrogance. They will mistake your peace as pride. But you must stay rooted, because you know what it took to become this calm. You know the storms you walked through in silence. You know how many times you wanted to give up and didn't. You earned this stillness. It's not fake. It's not rehearsed. It's real. Because it cost you everything you weren't, and now you are only what remains. Truth. Grace. Fire wrapped in stillness. So as people begin to notice you, as they whisper your name with a tone they never used before, don't rise in ego, rise in purpose. You don't need revenge. You need refinement. You don't need applause. You need alignment. You don't need their permission. You already have your path. And on this path, my friend, you do not walk alone. You walk with the ancestors. You walk with the divine. You walk with the rhythm of something so ancient, it cannot be denied. So don't shrink again. Don't pretend to be smaller than you are just to make others comfortable. Remember, the candle was never meant to hide beneath the basket. Its flame is its purpose. You are that flame. And now, it is time. Monk raises his eyes slowly, softly, smiling into the camera as if seeing directly into the viewer's soul. Let us complete this journey. One final breath, and we walk into your rising together. Inhale, slow, hold, exhale gently. You showed them who you are, not with noise, not with force, but with presence. And now, the world adjusts. So now we arrive, at the place where the journey meets the mirror. You've walked with me through the valleys of memory, through stories wrapped in silence, through truths you've always felt but perhaps never had words for. Until now, and here you are, still, listening, breathing, awake. Chosen one. You were never just becoming something. You were always remembering what you already are. The world may have called you quiet, but your silence was the sound of the storm preparing to settle. They called you soft, but they did not understand the courage it takes to stay kind in a world that gave you every reason to grow bitter. They dismissed you, but they could not define you because you were never built to fit inside the story they wrote about you. You came to write your own, a story of rising, a story of walking away with grace instead of revenge, a story of mastering your inner world so that no outer world could ever control you again. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer chase. You attract. You no longer beg for peace. You are the peace. Let them wonder. Let them watch. Let them rewrite the things they thought they knew about you, because you are no longer here to be understood. You are here to be undeniable. Camera slowly zooms out as Monk walks slowly along the temple corridor, hands clasped behind his back, birdsong faint in the distance. And if the road feels lonely at times, if the silence grows louder than expected, remember, you are not alone. Not truly. Every soul who chose growth over comfort walks beside you in spirit. Every ancestor who prayed for your awakening smiles from beyond the veil. And every time you choose integrity over approval, truth over image, presence over performance, you return to your path, not the path they gave you, the one you were born for. So what do you do now? You live. Not just exist, not just survive, but live. Wide-eyed, deeply rooted, fully present. And when people ask, how did you become this calm, this confident, this clear? You'll simply smile, and maybe you won't even answer. Because the real answer is not in your words, it's in your walk. Soft bell rings in the distance as the monk bows gently to the viewer. Walk on, chosen one. The path is yours now, no longer hidden, no longer mistaken, no longer afraid. You showed them who's in charge, not by force, but by becoming exactly who you were always meant to be. I bow to the light within you, and I trust you'll carry it forward with grace. If this message spoke to your soul, don't forget to like the video. Comment, I rise. In stillness to claim your growth. Subscribe for more spiritual guidance and wisdom. Share this with someone who needs to hear this today. You are not alone. Your awakening has just begun.